Welcome to episode 40 of the Play Your Yards Right podcast. As always, I am Sasha here with my wonderful co-hosts, Sarah and Mike. And it's the first full week without football, and I'm feeling okay, I guess. Better than expected.
I don't know if I can say the same.
The shaking has stopped finally, which is good.
That's good. We're through the detox period. I feel like they really timed the All-Star break for the NBA out just horribly. It's like, give me a full slate of NBA games, because I've just had to watch a bunch of college basketball games with teams I don't know or give a shit about, and it's been very, very difficult. I feel like the All-Star break should not have happened right now, because it was just everything Super Bowl, and then it's just like, now I got nothing, and that's not okay. I don't want to go cold turkey. I want hot turkey. I want to go into sports hot turkey.
I did my first blind betting games that I wasn't even planning on watching and just watched it on my phone, which is bad. Just taking favorites and being like, well, they must know something, and then the favorite's not hitting. So that's part of the cycle of coming down from the high of the NFL.
It's all about figuring it out.
Yeah,
100%. But I know now that football is over, there is a big thing I got to try to push you guys to get into more, because we're back on Premier League updates, whether you guys like it or not. The people have been clamoring for them, and I got to tell you, I'm ready to give it to them. So, but unfortunately, after we decided, I'm like, you know what? We got to start talking about Premier League. Tottenham comes out and lays an absolute egg against Wolves, which just fucking killed me. We lost 2-1. Should not have lost to them. They were injured. This guy Cunha, who's been pretty good for them, was injured, and we were at home, and it was just absolutely brutal. Plus, we did that thing where there was this kid that just got out of surgery with some cerebral palsy thing, like Make-A-Wish thing. They brought him out on the field, and it's just like everything is looking like, you should win this game. The morale is high, fans are behind it, and then we just come out and absolutely shit down our leg.
Did you guys forget to sub him out?
Yeah, we were actually had him playing at left back, because our two fullbacks, Udogie and Porro, were both out. So I think this kid with braces on his legs might have been better. But
he was left back.
Strength. What was that?
He was left back.
So, we haven't been full strength since November, which has been pretty brutal. People out with injury. We had Son, who was our captain, who was playing in the Asia Cup. And it's just like, I'm hoping things are going to start getting better. I think that they will. And we have a week off, because our game this week was supposed to be against Chelsea, and they're playing in a different cup final. So we literally have 2 weeks to try to get healthy and get our shit together. The only thing I have to say, Wolves, I think that Wolves might have the worst logo in sports. I don't know. I know you guys are big Premier League fans, but I really, really hate this. I'm gonna share this now. I want you guys to see. This just looks like if you were a kid, and made, just learn how to use the internet and drew a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
It's just old school, create a team logo.
It looks like a sign that might be on a fake hazardous chemical in a hospital, when they put those oxycons. But this is the Clorox wipes. It's nothing really scary, but they put that on there just in case.
Yeah, I really like that. This does look like a sign that's yeah, it's in Russia. There was some biohazard area that people aren't allowed to go in, and because this sign is there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's it feels like one of they're the Wolverhampton. Yeah, they're the Wolverhampton Wanderers, but they're the Wolves, and they're everywhere. It's Wolverhampton, which it's a fine team name, and I feel like they could make it look cool. The Wolves is kind of a badass name, and it's just don't have that stupid pixely dumb logo. You could be better, because it just feels like not real. But I want things to start getting better, and I think they will. These 2 weeks are going to be huge. I still have tremendous trust in our coach, Big Ange Postecoglou. We're still very much fighting for a Champions League spot. So I don't really know if we're competing for top of the league. Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City are all obviously, I think, still better than us, because they are just farther down the process of where they are as a team. But I think that they are still flawed, and at least Arsenal lost in their Champions League game this week to Porto, pretty embarrassingly at the end. So we have a week off, get it back together. And the only thing that scares me, we are playing. So we're in 5th right now, and we're playing Crystal Palace in our next game in a week and a half. They're in 15th. They're not very good. But I am scared about it, because their coach just stepped down basically because he's dying. the guy Mike, you've come over and we've bet on a couple of their games before. Remember that super old dude?
Yeah,
he's like he's like 70s. Yeah, he looks like he was from Transylvania. But basically, he went to the hospital and like stepped down. But realistically, I think they wanted to fire him, and they couldn't fire a guy in the hospital with like months to live. So he did step down, and it's going to be the first game of the new coach they just hired. So I feel like it doesn't even matter. Like you could be playing some high school team if they got something to fight for. Like their coach just left, and they got a new coach. It doesn't matter how bad the team is. So I'm a little worried about that. But I think 2 weeks of rest, get everybody healthy again, and we're going to be back. So time to get in, guys. Listen, football's done. Become Tottenham fans. They're super likable. They're very exciting. Our defense is kind of okay. So we give up some goals. We score a lot of goals. So the games are exciting. We've scored goals in I think it's 37 straight Premier League games. So if part of the reason you're not watching soccer is because it's boring, Tottenham is the opposite of watching a boring team. So this is a way to do it.
Should you tell the listeners of my introduction to Tottenham, Mr. Goal Scorer?
This was years ago. At our good friend, shout out Sean Cole.
38 games ago, I bet.
Listeners of the podcast know Sean Cole. It was his bachelor party in Boston, and I was able to trick the fellows for his bachelor party to go watch a Tottenham game at a bar in the middle of the day. And it was the worst game of soccer I've ever seen in my life. Not a single goal was scored. Mike walked in. He's like, I hate soccer. You did. He's like, I'm gonna do this for you. And then it was the worst game I have ever seen, and everybody was super bored, and we were less than the most sober people in the world. And I don't think anybody liked us because they were also mad about how bad the game was. But what are you gonna do? They can't all be barn burners, but this year is different. This team is different. We're going to start getting better. Andrew's going to stick around for a while, and things are going to get great. We're going to win the Champions League. We're going to finish third. Maybe Arsenal's going to be bad. So life is good. I don't know. I'm going to keep lying to myself.
Okay.
But before we get into that, like I mentioned before, I've been watching too much college basketball, and I'm enjoying it so far. But all I know is that I'm watching just enough to be dangerous to myself come March Madness. I think I'm going to know stuff, but I don't know anything. So it's going to be that weird, bad confidence of I watched some college basketball and I think Virginia Tech's really good because I just watched them beat Virginia. Or I think Creighton's really good right now. And then they're just going to fuck me later because I'm like, no, I watched that game. And then I'm going to be mad when they lose. And everybody who actually knows stuff about college basketball is going to be like, they were terrible. Why did you think that? It was the 2 games I saw over the NBA All-Star break.
You got to get some losses in now, guys. I'm telling you. Quick, just those harsh reminders that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
To me, college basketball is so hard because the home team is you can never take the away team in college basketball. The spread is just so heavily impacted by that, regardless of the team. So I feel like I've been learning the hard way this year. Always go with the home team, unless it's an outrageous spread, right? But then college, NCAA March Madness comes around, or even the tournaments, and there is no home team, really. So then you're okay, all these tips and tricks that I've been watching, teams that I've been watching and rooting for, it kind of takes away from that, and you're kind of just left actually needing to know the skill level of these teams. And it's different than in-season watching. So I'm excited to keep getting more into it. I've been building myself in, a game or two a night. I feel like there's more and more college basketball games starting at 9:00. And I don't know if I just sound old saying that, but in my head, college basketball was always sometimes 6, but usually 7:00 start. And I feel like these premier matchups are now 9 p.m. and I hate it. I hate that.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that for football is the only sport I will really go past my bedtime for. I can't be extending that into college basketball season.
Yeah, I don't care too much about St. John's, Georgetown. It's if I'm tired and not feeling good, I'm probably going to go to bed. I'm not sticking it up to watch Pitino get furious because a guy isn't hitting a 3 versus Georgetown. I can't really get up for it.
No.
And then did you guys? I was referencing Creighton. Did you guys see Dan Hurley lose his absolute shit at Creighton with UConn?
Yeah. That was bad, a bad look. It didn't even happen on the court. I had to go watch it was for those who did not see it. He was walking into the tunnel. He looked like he was calm and collected. We know that's not for him, Yeah. And then just mutter at a fan, basically saying, I think it was, "I will knock you out," is what is believed he said. Yeah. which is just like, I mean, they got their ass kicked. UConn did, but it was a perfect spot for a letdown game. I said, I'm a partial UConn fan since my husband is in medical school there. So I've been rooting for them more and more since I'm not really into Syracuse basketball so much anymore. I mean, I am, but they just haven't been very good. And I still don't know how I feel about Dan Hurley. But I felt like going into this game, they had a huge win against Marquette over the weekend. Basically went out and embarrassed Marquette in a similar fashion to they got embarrassed by Creighton. So I was like, this is the perfect letdown game, like where they're going to Creighton. They had this huge win. So I was all over it. Did I bet it? No, of course. Like, why? I'm like putting all these little different parlays of like Monmouth and like St. Bonaventure and all these random ass teams. And then I don't even bet on like the one thing I actually have college basketball insight maybe into. But it just felt like I'm happy they got the loss out of the way because I felt like things were going too good for UConn, where they were probably going to falter early in the tournament because I feel like that's just what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
So maybe it was good for them to get this, loss and kind of get them back to reality a little bit.
I can hope so. And that's why I can't tell if I absolutely love this Hurley thing or if I think it's just an absolutely psychopath move. Like I can't tell if he's just being like completely crazy or if it's like, you know what, like fire up the team, take some of the heat. You just had a terrible loss. I mean, people are kind of talking about the loss, but everybody's talking about like, how did he just look? And it seemed like the only chirp they were getting was like, welcome to Omaha, welcome to Omaha.
Right.
Like, all right, you live in fucking Nebraska. I don't know how many wins you're going to take here. And then the only thing I could really was thinking was like, is it bad for the coach to be like the biggest personality on the team? Like there's no real big personalities on UConn or anything. They're just kind of always a good team. And then I was thinking about that. I'm like, is he just like a Dabo Sweeney kind of guy where it's like me, everything's about me. It's not really going to be about the players. I feel like for some reason I liked it about Dan Hurley, but then as soon as I was like, it's kind of like a Dabo Sweeney move. I immediately was like, maybe I hate this. So
yeah, well,
I'm kind of all over the place.
Coach K had a lot of success.
Yeah, but he wasn't like
Bobby
yelling
Knight.
at fans.
He was like a me
Bobby
in a different
Knight
way. I feel like
Bobby Knight was assaulting referees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool move. If Dan Hurley punched a ref, I'd be all in.
I feel like
he's
right
drinking
now,
piss before the games.
I know.
That is pretty cool.
I feel like right now, like it's so wrapped up in his desire to win and competitive nature that like it's been his antics have kind of just been like pushed aside and it's just part of him and who he is and they're winning. So people are going to accept it. I think it's if they start losing and the program goes downhill, then the microscope's a little bit more on him in terms of his actions, maybe not treating the players, but how he's responding. But right now, I feel like people are okay with it for the most part. This like kind of brought it more to light, but because they're winning, and I think it is. He admits to being crazy too, so it's not like he's not aware. He owns who he is. So,
but is he like one of those people that's like, well, I admit that I'm crazy, and then they think that just gives them carte blanche to just be crazy. Yeah. It's like, well, I know I can be a little crazy, and then they just say something totally psychopathic. It's like you can't just because you acknowledge, like, sure, it's good that you acknowledge it and you realize you're crazy, but that doesn't you can't just have free reign to just go be a nut.
Yeah, that might be where he's heading.
So, but I think I will continue to bet on UConn. I think UConn is very, very good, and I will continue to bet on. I think kind of what my plan is for the rest of the season. I'm going to bet on Purdue every game, and then all of the money that I win from that, I will use to bet against them in the tournament. So it's kind of just building my anti-Purdue kitty with Purdue wins in the regular season.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like keep it safe. So
I think I'll join you and blow it.
Let's do it.
I'll mush it.
You and I have never, gone bad on a bet together.
Watch out, Vegas, when our bets combine.
I've also never been more sure about a player not being successful in the NBA as Zach Edey. He's like one of those guys that's so dominant in college, and it's just like that's never going to translate.
Taco Fall.
Oh, that's true.
Same dude. I don't even
think Edey wants to be successful in the NBA though. Like he doesn't look like he's having fun out there.
I think it's his face.
How uncomfortable it must be for that guy.
It's like he's
get up. Just
life has to hurt. Yeah, life hurts.
Lugging that.
He's like, I got to be on planes. This body isn't
the court.
I did have some family friends when I was living in Boston. They were coming to visit, and they were coming from I can't remember. I think Pennsylvania or somewhere, and they happened to be on the same flight as Taco Fall. Because he got called up and like got a 10-day or something. It's like he's just flying commercial. There was, it was a small plane for a small flight, was not in first class. It's like, That guy's just fucking enormous. And like, if you're not gonna like, life can't be that fun. So I feel bad.
Yeah. I could not imagine being that. I think at a certain point, the height becomes like a real struggle.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Or you
So
could be a
going
guy
to the
like
NBA,
Sean Bradley.
I know the NBA starts back tonight, which is very, very exciting. I'm pumped. But honestly, I think this time off has been pretty good for me because I was super high on the Knicks, and now with some time away, without watching them, kind of win and put some time on the court together, I feel like I've kind of quelled my expectations a little bit and realized that I don't know if we are championship contending team.
You're still really injured.
Very injured, but then that's literally I was like, we're injured, we're gonna be fine. But then like my saving grace was that Julius Randle's gonna come back. Like I've seen him play in the playoffs the last 2 years. It's like, oh, thank God Julius is back, so he can so he can play like Tyler Hansborough in the playoffs. It's like he looks amazing in the regular season, and then it's just like all of a sudden he's just not that guy in the playoffs, and it's just like I've seen this fucking show before. He should come back. He's saying he's gonna come back, but unless he's like he turns into a guy he's never been in the playoffs. I need to protect myself here.
I went in my time machine actually between shows, and I actually have the only 4 teams that could be NBA Finals champions. And
you've been holding out on us?
I didn't want to tell you, but the Knicks aren't one of them, unfortunately. I was really, I thought for the first time they'd have the chance, but, fired up the DeLorean, and I've got the 4, and the Knicks are not one of them.
Fuck. Well, I mean, I guess before, I don't want to blow your cover here, but I mean, I do want to know. But I also is Sarah's Heat one of them?
Sarah, guess what?
No.
Yes,
you alluded to it. You said you were in on the Heat. I think
they are one of 4.
He's frozen now. This anticipation is building.
Oh, did you hear what I said? I said they are.
No. Whoa!
They are one of my 4.
No.
Wow.
They are.
The Miami Heat.
I like it.
The Miami Heat of Miami are one of my 4 teams that are the only 4 teams that can win the NBA Finals. It's
like ever since doing this podcast, everybody's just conspiring against me, and I don't like it.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm rooting for the Knicks, but
Thanks.
I have the gift of time travel, and I know, and I'm going to, as the season progresses, bet each of these 4 teams during their worst points of the upcoming season. Only one of these teams really, really scares me with injury. Otherwise, it's these 4.
The suspense is really building right now.
I'm very, very excited.
It is. Tune in next week for my my other 3 teams.
Are these 4 in any order?
I'm going to I'll finish the East, and then I'll give you the West. It happens to be 2 and 2. So great parlay if you want to put them all together, which I'm going to for the conference game. Boston Celtics. Sorry, I went chalk with that one.
It's fair.
I think it's going to be Celtics Heat.
And you think the Bucks? You think the Bucks are just going to fall apart? I mean, obviously Doc Rivers is looking terrible.
Apart.
Yeah, Doc Rivers seems like nobody really likes him anymore. Outside, I mean, maybe people in the building do, but
Bill Simmons was his only friend, and he quit to go back to the NBA. Not good, Doc. I don't like that team. I don't think they're as deep as they were, and Dame Lillard doesn't play defense, and point guards don't age. Like, it's really hard to age well as a point guard, and he can still put up points, but he can't guard anybody. And they also lost Grayson Allen, which I can't believe I'm even saying that. But another defensive linchpin, they just don't have it. Brook Lopez is like 40 years old. I always think he's like 25. It's like he's not. He's a very old 7-foot center who there's another guy who's got to hurt more and more to get up every morning. And he wasn't exactly like a banger down low. So it's a lot on Giannis. I don't believe in them.
Yeah, at least that Lopez ran like he was 40 from this time he was 25. So it's like you can't really tell how much he's aging because he's always ran like an injured like giraffe. Did we lose you?
Did you lose me? Yeah, everything cut out.
I was saying, yeah. I was saying that you can't tell how much Brook Lopez is aging because he always ran like an injured giraffe even when he was like 22.
Right, yeah, and he shoots threes now. I just mean they don't have like the league is getting bigger and post play is getting more important, and like he can't bang down there. It's all Giannis.
Yeah.
And I don't think Doc Rivers is a good coach, and I don't think Embiid's coming back, and I think the Knicks are going to have a Brunson problem in the playoffs because they are going to like defenses step. It changes in the playoffs, and Brunson is their only real go-to scorer.
Yeah, it's still
Cleveland's really good too, but Donovan Mitchell's like trying on his Knicks jersey at home, like he's not going to be there.
I mean, I hope you listen. You keep stop saying this stuff. You're just going to get my hopes
Donovan
up, and
Mitchell's
he's not going to go there.
Coming to the Knicks. He's going to the Knicks.
I don't know if you're doing this to troll me or not, but I'm getting excited.
I'm being completely serious.
I think he's gone, but yeah.
Miami does not. They clearly do not value like their seeding that much, and their Jimmy Butler is going to be Jimmy Butler again, and he's resting, and as long as it's not anything worse, every time I pull up Jimmy Butler to get his stats, he has that weird emo haircut as his profile, and I'm always like, maybe there's something bigger with Jimmy, like he is just missing personal reason games, and so like that's a little scary. And Bam Adebayo only managed to put up 3 points in the All-Star game, which, I mean, I could have put up 6 points in the All-Star game, so that was a little weird. But I love Terry Rozier. I love that whole team. Jaime Jaquez is an awesome rookie. Mm-hmm. Tyler Hero wasn't in the playoffs last year, and they went to the finals. Duncan Robinson's got his groove back. So I really like Miami, and I love Spoelstra. I think he's the best coach in the league. So that's your East Coast.
Love it.
West Coast, Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets again, chalk.
Yep.
Yes.
And my injury dependent team, who I think is going to come out of the West, is the LA Clippers.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, they're looking so good when they're firing on all cylinders. Like, and they obviously have the talent, but if they can stay healthy, that's a scary team.
Yeah, Kawhi when he's playing like this is still like a top 4 player in the league, and they're deep. They're like 9-10 guys deep, and Russell Westbrook in this weird evolved like 5th, 6th option guy is going to make impacts all over the court in these games. I've always loved Russell Westbrook. I feel like I'm the only one. I love him, and I want to see him win. So, and I like Paul George, playoff P, if he can stay healthy and not shrink under the spotlight. That team's really good. Ty Lue's a really good coach who's won an NBA Finals. So, Denver's going to be tough to get by. But I think the Clippers, really, really, really dark horse, maybe like Golden State, if Kuminga keeps playing really well and they figure some things out and Chris Paul comes back, because I never doubt Curry, and they put Clay on the bench and he scored 35 points the other night, his first time coming off the bench. But I doubt it because I don't think they have the size. But they're like the 5th best rebounding team in the league.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If Andrew Wiggins can go back to whatever he was a few years ago, and Kuminga keeps looking like a young Kawhi Leonard to me, who's like shooting better at this stage in his career. Chris Paul comes back. If he could be healthy, come in the second unit, they've got I'll never count them out because I think the league in general, these teams are weaker because of all the player movement.
Yeah.
But I was listening to somebody was talking about like the NBA is one of the only leagues really where it's like you have to be battle tested. Like you have to go through the losses. It's why I can't pick the Thunder, even though I love that team. It's like they have to have like another year or two of like coming up short. So it's like I'm picking teams. Kawhi Leonard's gotten there twice. He's a robot. He's unfazed. Ty Lue's won a title. Nuggets have won a title. The Celtics check every box as like the team that's lost enough times that they're going to break through. And same thing with Miami. And Miami is just enough off the radar that they were like plus 1,300. Their odds might even be worse now. I mean, they're in the finals every year. If every year nobody talks about the Heat, and then they're in the finals. So
to the teams I didn't hear you mention at all,
I don't need to watch any of these other games.
Yeah. The number 1 seed Timberwolves, no chance.
Not yet. Haven't had the losses. And
then
Karl Anthony Towns is a loser.
I think so too.
He's a loser. You can't win games with that guy. He scored, what did he score? 63 points, and the coach had to bench him in that game, and they lost?
Yeah,
loser. He scored 50 in the All-Star game. Of course he did.
Yeah.
Loser.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other team, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned at all. Not a fan of the Suns.
I love Anthony Edwards, though. Anthony Edwards.
Did you hear the other thing? The Suns.
No way. Are they even more than like 4 players deep on that team?
I mean, well, when two of them are, Durant and Booker, it's a pretty deep 4.
Yeah, they have no bench. I don't believe in them. Who's even their coach? Is it Nick Nurse?
Oh, good question.
No.
Could be.
Let's see.
It's not Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is on the Sixers. I don't know. It's just I'm not inspired by that team.
Frank Vogel.
Oh, jeez, Jesus. No, I don't see it. And Bradley Beal's another guy. I don't think he's a winner. He's not the guy.
Yeah,
he's not that guy, pal.
Little stink on him. But that's some good NBA recap. I like all of those teams. Obviously, I'm very hopeful for the Knicks, but I think I do need to be kind of realistic about it. I've seen it. I do think we need some more pieces. I just like that they're trying stuff. They're doing stuff. We made a lot of moves at the deadline. Obviously for nothing earth shattering, but we brought some guys in, and if we can keep on the 4 seed, as right now we'd have to play the Sixers if Embiid's back. I think that's a nightmare first round matchup, but we got a ways to go, and I'm excited for the rest of the season to kind of play out. But also in the sports doldrums, at least we had the what was it? The Genesis Cup? Golf is back.
Yeah, Willie Z got us there. He got us there.
We almost won some money. You called it out. He had a hole in one. Everything was looking good, and then just Matsuyama comes out,
bang, and it's over. That's it.
He just turned it on, and he was just putting every shot within 6 inches of the hole. It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah, he was nasty. Willie Z's new putter, same dude. He's got that giant putter, and he still can't hit a big putt. It's tough. It's hard. A lot of these guys can't close.
It's a lot of pressure. I mean, I get it. I feel a lot of pressure playing in a random tournament for charity. You can't imagine what it's like to do this, but I feel like Ben Willie Z's top 5, top 10s maybe a little smarter than having him finish number 1, because it seems like he's always going to be around. It also seems like he could be one of those guys that he gets 1 under his belt and then they'll just start falling. Like if he's able to win 1 and know what that's like to really get it across the finish line, he might win 3 or 4 in a year.
Did you guys hear Matsuyama after the tournament get interviewed? He said he felt like he was playing over par in that round. As in he was unhappy with the way that he played.
And that's why the Japanese are going to take over the world.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like that's just like a set it all 4 of the majors. I'm putting a little money on Matsuyama now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was hitting every shot perfectly. It's like he was crushing the ball, and he felt he was playing bad. That's insane.
Yeah, so, he didn't.
Other than that, what else happened this week? NBA All-Star, NBA All-Star game. I don't know if you guys stayed up at all to watch it, but it's not becoming more fun to watch.
Mm-mm. I'm not a huge All-Star game person. I don't know why. Yeah. I see it as my kind of break from the regular season. I don't know. I just can't really get into it when it's meaningless.
And everybody tries to come up with different ways to make it more interesting, and it's they're all kind of fun to talk about. I feel like the All-Star game sucks just for the discourse of how could we make this more interesting. But none of those are ever actually going to happen, and I don't know what they would have. It would have to basically be something completely different to make it that interesting to watch. And it's were we just I remember loving watching it as a kid. Did it get worse, or was I just a kid? Do kids still like watching it?
Hello.
I'm sorry. I muted myself because I was coughing. I wasn't not responding to you. And then I couldn't get myself back off mute. I don't want to keep coughing in the listeners' ears, so you're welcome.
Yes. Well, listen, we appreciate. We're going through some growing pains. We're doing a new recording service now, so we'll edit this up, but we will. We'll get better. We promise.
Yeah,
that is all right.
I think you ditch the All-Star weekend and you go to bye weeks like football.
Interesting.
And you move the in-season tournament to this period in time. These guys aren't engaged. That. I don't see a path to make it engaging. Just give them a bye week and have a mix in throughout so it's like, all right, the Warriors and the, Toronto, the Knicks and the Nets are all off for 7 days or 10 days, whatever it is. And each year, how it plays is when you get your bye weeks.
And then, I don't mind. It's like I still think there's some validity to the All-Star thing. I mean, obviously, a lot of contract stuff for them is all tied around becoming an All-Star, and there's obviously a lot of media that surrounds it. So it's like that still needs to happen, I guess. They get together and maybe do just like they just focus on making the dunk competition better, focus on just like the 3-point, the skills, like make it an event. But I like the bye week idea, and I like the in-season tournament. Like I feel like the in-season tournament didn't get enough buzz because it was just sprinkled in with regular games. Like if they literally like had a 2-week period in the middle of the season where it was just the in-season tournament, everybody's playing a bunch of nights, single elimination kind of things like that, and everybody's just watching this tournament, and they do some bye weeks. I like that. That could be much more interesting, and I don't know. They'll keep changing it. They'll keep trying, and I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, what if like they did the in-season tournament and like all-stars got to wear like a different jersey?
Oh. Yeah, because it could just be a thing like for money. Like they're an all-star now. They get a patch, and it's like we don't need to all get together and play the game. But I don't know. The parties are insane. I'm sure. Like if we went, it'd be fun. It'd be fun as shit. Like we're going to All-Star weekend. That's probably an insane time.
I thought you meant for the players. I was like, James Harden does not need a reason to have a party in Vegas. He goes there between games.
Well, now he can go even harder because he goes hard enough where he can still have to play. Now he's just got to go hard and then just go chuck up some threes and throw some lobs to, some cutting center.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't love I saw highlights from I think it was the 2001 where it came down to like Kobe at the last basket and they were like playing tight defense and I'm like it's never going back to that. A lot of the guys are competitive, but you need a buy-in from everybody and that'll never happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their health is most important. Like the last thing anybody wants. Like as soon as anybody starts playing hard in that game, everybody's gonna be like, whoa. Like if I turn an ankle or tear, if something happens to me and I can't play, like that's a problem. I don't care about whatever this, $20,000 or 50,000, whatever they're playing for. It's like it pales in comparison to the $50 million contract I have. I really don't care.
Right.
Yep. Shout out Stephon Marbury from that game too. Boy, I forgot how good he was.
Oh, dude,
it was him and Kobe going mano a mano with all these Hall of Famers on the court, and it's Marbury was jacking up threes and hitting them to win, and the East won. Crazy.
Yeah, so it was just better because they. It's like I get at the end of the day, you have to get the guys to care, and there's really no way to get them to care about the one game because that was fun when you could watch Marbury and all those Lakers, all those guys go at it. And, like, you can go back and watch. Nobody's going back and watching this game. Like, you just went back to go watch highlights. Nobody's going back to watch highlights of this. Ever.
No. No, I didn't ever want to watch it live. I didn't want to watch the highlights the next day.
Yeah.
All I saw was Karl Anthony Towns scored 50, and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I know that game sucked. Nobody wants to watch that guy. What did he even have to do to put up 50? Ugh, it's not.
Yeah, no, he was on the court for too much.
Pass the rock, man. Jesus.
Before we move on, Mike, I do see you have some NFL news.
Yeah, I want to quickly just say it seems like I thought this was going to play out longer, so maybe he did it not to hurt me. My man Gabe Davis posted an 8-minute video on his Instagram that seemed a lot like a goodbye to Buffalo. So
8 minutes.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
It was a highlight. It was a highlight thing. But at the end, it thanked, the fans. And it was really, really like he was my favorite player on the offense other than, my man Josh Allen. Hit your timer.
There it is.
That's way
nice.
later.
Got it. That's a long one.
Got it in 34 minutes. But I feel like this is going to be a major regret. He also, at the end, you guys should check it out. I'll send it to you guys. At and it's right on his page if anybody wants to look it up, if you're that interested. He put his stats at the end of like where he ranks, and it's like top of the league and all these things. And he put in parentheses with them how many targets he was getting. So it's like all these players that put up X amount of touchdowns, and it was like 900 targets, and he had like 500 targets to get like relatively the same amount of production. I can see him like, the Chiefs just signed Matt Araiza today too.
That punter?
Yeah. Yeah, he's on the Chiefs now. I wonder how that's going to go for me next year when he's killing the ball. I was going to say before this signing, I was like, this seems like a guy the Chiefs are going to sign, and he's going to put up 1,500 yards next year.
Yeah.
So it's sad. I can understand why. I guess it's not working out. I think he was misutilized and also way over scrutinized for drops when it's, everybody has a drop problem on that team. And, he had some of like the biggest moments of like the last 5 years have been because of him on a ton of these games. And he's 25 years old. Like I still think there's a lot more out of him. And if you do look just the last minute of that video, it's like, it just seems like he's somebody that given a different situation, he's going to really like, I think he's already been good. Bills fans, he was like one of those guys we just like decided to like, turn on. So, it is what it is. Shout out Gabe Davis. Glad I didn't buy the jersey. Was gonna.
Now's the time to. Yeah, I have a couple takes from what you said. One, I feel like he suffers from a bad case of old guy face. Like it doesn't matter that he's 25. People look at him and they're like, "What's that guy? 30? We probably don't need to re-sign him because he just looks like an old guy."
I would hope the front office like does a little bit. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know.
You don't know.
They signed Von Miller like he was 27.
Right, because he looks like a young guy.
He goes on Twitch. He must be a young guy.
Exactly. But I will always love Gabe Davis, real close with Shane Gillis, which I think is always hilarious. Also, Gabe Davis, I do like, because I feel like usually the move is with all those numbers, or like it's usually the Odell Beckham Jr. dad going like buck wild on Twitter. I like that he just kind of analytics nerded his like "fuck you guys" video. It was like I'm not going to come out and be like, "Yo, you should throw me the ball more." It's like, well, based on my statistics, which I do kind of like.
And it's not just like one.
I just can't.
Like, it was like 3 screens of statistics over and over.
Yeah,
so
I like that. And then the one thing I was shocked about when you said 8 minutes, it's like, was he really able to make an 8-minute video of me betting on him and him not catching balls when I bet on him? It's a really long video of him doing that.
Yeah, I know. Every game that I wouldn't bet on him.
It's just he's the epitome for me. He's just the epitome of the guy that like he's gonna have a big game, score a touchdown, have some catches, and then it's just like, who is this guy? And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, I'm never betting on him again. He's 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then bet on him the next week, and he touches the ball one time.
I think that's a little bit of the Bills' fault. I think we're gonna find that out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's all him. It's just that's my own personal beef.
And for that video to come out this early, 2 things quickly. Number one, the Bills must have just been like, "Hey man, we're not even going to negotiate with you," because this is really early for that to come out. And 2, like he thanked the fans and thanked the organization and said like, "I grew here and I, you changed my life." It wasn't like, "Fuck you guys, free agency hasn't even started and you're letting me walk." Like, I'm Gabe Davis. It was very, he handled himself very well the whole time he was here. So, bye, Gabe.
Respect.
Don't sign with the Chiefs. Please, God.
So and then before we sign off, to hopefully pick up the mood a little bit, Mike had actually brought up a wonderful question that I feel like we wanted to talk about here. I put a little thought into it as well. But you had wrote here, Mike, what is your biggest what could have been player you ever saw play or that you ever know of? And I haven't been able to like do work or focus on anything else since you've said that, because I'm just trying to make all of these different polls. And there's so many people in my head of like old Yankees or old players. And I just like, just that it's me personally. So I actually was going up and looking stats and stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe I think I was just 9 years old and thought Ricky Leday was going to be an all-star. But I think that was probably just me. So I've put some people together, and I want Mike. Was there a player in particular that got you thinking about that? Were you watching somebody and you're like, man, that guy could have been good?
Well, Gabe Davis putting that video up. I'm serious. Gabe Davis putting that video up was what made me think of the question. It's like, this is going to be a what could have been on our team type thing. So like, it's open-ended. Like, is it what he could have been with your organization or what they could have been as a player? Because like you mentioned old Yankees, my brain immediately went to Shane Spencer.
Oh, the greatest year.
The guy had 14, like 9 grand slams in that year. And it was like, what is this? Next Mickey Mantle. Yeah.
Now he's selling insurance at AIG, I think.
Is he really?
No, I have no idea. Felt right.
No, he's homeless. No. CJ Spiller was a guy who was on the Bills who I can still remember. I can remember I don't know if you heard that. CJ Spiller.
Oh, the Bills. Yeah. The running back. Yeah.
I can remember where I was, like the JFK assassination, as he broke this huge run, and it was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And he gets tackled from behind and breaks his collarbone. And that was it. His career, he was about to become like he was going to be a top running back. Breaks his collarbone, career's basically never the same.
Yeah.
So that was Shane Spencer and CJ Spiller were my big ones. And of course, Jeremy Lin. I mean, I never thought that was going to be that, but for the Knicks, geez.
That went about, well, that could have been. So I was thinking about NFL. I'd broken it down to a few players. I feel like they don't really count, but they deserve honorable mentions. It's like Barry Sanders and Andrew Luck. They'll just forever be the guys of like retired young and like could have been all-timers. But the two like NFL players, like what could have been, the one that just drives me crazy so much is Josh Gordon. He was like when he was healthy, those like you had him on your fantasy team with those Browns teams were so bad, and he would just put up the most insane stat lines, and he just couldn't stop smoking weed when the league and the world really cared about him smoking weed.
Yeah, that one season was unbelievable. How many years did you pick him up on fantasy football?
Expect every year. If he was available, it was every single year. It's like, this is the greatest receiver I've ever seen.
I think I would have added him last year if he was on the free agent. I'm not. And then yeah. And then Sarah, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I remember being terrified when RG3 started playing for the Redskins. Mm-hmm. I thought that like with him and Alfred Morris, I thought the Redskins, I was like, fuck, like the Redskins are now going to be great for the next 15 years because RG3, when he came out and he was doing stuff that nobody had ever seen and the way he was running and the way he was passing, I'm like, we are so screwed. And just, obviously those injuries were brutal with his knee and the terrible field in Washington. But I just remember like, I feel like if he had stayed healthy, went to a different organization or something, I just thought he could have been so good for so long.
No, he was one of the first players I thought of, probably recency bias after he was on Part of My Take not that long ago. Because I immediately thought of him just circumstance wise. I think, nothing worked out in his favor. So he has to be waking up, kind of almost every day. And I feel like thinking what could have happened for me from there. So.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
I was trying to think of NBA guys. Yeah.
Oh, Len Bias. I mean, that's before all of our time.
Yeah.
But guy was going to be like better than he was Jordan. Like he was going to be better than Jordan. A lot of people said. Drafted by the Celtics. Crazy.
Pre-fentanyl.
Yeah. Jeez.
And then I always remember also what Penny Hardaway, I think was the number one that always came to mind. Like just felt like there was always injuries there. And like he's still, I think generally considered to be, incredible. And I think is renowned as a great player, but felt like he should have been so much better just because but all those injuries were always so bad.
Yao Ming.
Yeah. It's hard. I was thinking it through and I felt like I struggled with this like Sasha because when I was thinking back to when you're younger, I feel like you idealize so many things. Then I actually went and looked up the stats and I was like, Brian Roberts wasn't really very much for the Orioles. And I thought he was like the greatest player on earth, and was like so under-recognized at the time.
He beat the Yankees a lot. He would always,
He did. I felt like my mind immediately went to the Cowboys, obviously. And I think if I had to pick someone in their my lifetime history, I have to go Tony Romo, I think. I feel like him more just like what could have been from a team perspective. He should have won a Super Bowl with them. I don't know that he had so many things happen to him, so many crazy injuries. He had a terrible spell period, where he was just injured constantly with the clavicular fractures. And then obviously the Dez caught it, when they were actually putting things together. So I feel like his career to me is, this question is kind of who's a bust, right? Sort of thing. And that's kind of how I see it. Whose career didn't pan out how you would think it would. So that's who I would have to say from the Cowboys perspective that I think about a lot, but more than just today. I think about that a lot.
I'm just infiltrating your guys' minds while you're trying to live your lives with these.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be nothing but deep questions coming from me.
I like it. I'm a big fan because, and then I got into baseball. You were mentioning, I feel like, again, Hall of Famer. It's like I don't know. It's just like when I thought about this guy, it's like Ken Griffey Jr. was the greatest baseball player ever. And I feel like the end of his career, the last 7 years, it was just like season-ending injury. And it's like it's hard to say that what could have been. It's like he's in the Hall of Fame, but I just felt like he could have been top 5, one of the greatest players ever. Not just the coolest guy ever, but one of the greatest players ever without those injuries. And then the other guy, it's I was looking up his story. I thought about him, and then I looked up his story. Josh Hamilton was supposed to be the greatest thing ever. And then he got hit by a trash truck going to an exhibition game. He got addicted to drugs. And it's he was still had a couple years where he was unbelievable. But
coolest
it just
home
felt
run derby of all time.
Yeah, the best. And then it just felt everything went wrong for that dude. So it's maybe he could have been incredible because 10 years I may not really. He's not going to be talked about as incredible.
Let's not forget Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor on the Cubs.
Those teams are so good. They could shove.
I think about we do that immaculate grid, and I always try to answer Kerry Wood for things, and it's no, he's had none of those stats because I always think he was still had a good career, and it's he did not. Kerry Wood lives in my brain all the time, rent free.
I embarrassingly, hand up here. This is a secret between us. I would always conflate him and that beach volleyball player. Was it Kerry Walsh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was it Walsh?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I would always somebody would be talking about them, and I'd always think about the wrong person. So very, very different people. But it would always make me feel dumb by myself for a minute.
Well, don't get aroused. I'm talking about the baseball player, Kerry Wood.
That's what gets me aroused. Yeah.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yeah.
What about Drew Henson? Remember Drew Henson for the Yankees? Michigan quarterback.
That's too
and
deep
baseball.
of a pull. I don't have him.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Man. Oh my God. He was going to be. He was drafted by the Cowboys, Sarah. You don't remember Drew Henson? Nobody?
Oh no.
Drew Henson sounds like somebody made a cartoon of the guy that did Sesame Street.
That's Jim Henson. Drew Henson was.
I know. That's you made a cartoon. You drew Henson.
Oh, very good. Very funny.
Thank you.
He was on the Cowboys and the Yankees. He was going to be a quarterback, or he was going to be the best third baseman of all time, and he ended up doing neither. But he flip-flopped from both, which is insane.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he started with the Cowboys, then went to baseball.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
See that guy? That's another guy. Feels like I could look up his LinkedIn, and he's just.
Wait, I can't believe we haven't said this, but what about Johnny Manziel?
Oh,
I feel we just. I feel like he was just it was so clearly evident that wasn't going to work out in the NFL for him. But if you look at his college career and then said what was going to transpire and his stats from there, what could have been?
What could if he kept the shit together? And then I don't know if this really counts, but Pete Rose is remembered way too much for the gambling thing. Now that gambling is just ubiquitous and every single major sports league is just taking millions of dollars from these gambling things. We need to realize how the fact that Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame and the fact that his hit record is just so far and away above everybody else. He needs to be remembered more as what an incredible baseball player he was, because even in our generation, then obviously everybody younger is not people don't talk about him as a player as much anymore. They just talk about him, whatever his issues. And I think that that's insane.
I would want to put the steroid guys in before Pete Rose if I had an order of importance.
I'm all in on both. I think let them all in. It's like who is the sanctity of this Hall of Fame that like
wasn't Pete Rose throwing games though as a manager?
No, you never bet him. He never bet against himself. He bet on sports. He never. He never bet against his team. So he says.
All right. I'm wrong.
But if he
free
did
Pete
also,
Rose.
If he did, respect. That dude's trying to win a bet. He just needed to see one go through the net.
Yeah, he was hoping people were turning ankles like I hope people are about to turn an ankle. Oh man, man, hurt it rounding first. Come on.
But that's the issue. You're hoping, and he's laying bats on the dugout floor.
I'll also be signing baseballs at Crossgates Mall with Pete Rose if anybody wants to pay me $75 for a ball. I could use it to pay off my bad bets.
This is my favorite thing about Pete Rose. You see like all of his signatures from now. Like if anybody goes and asks him to sign anything, he signs with how many hits he had. just so you know. It's just like looks, which I think is pretty hilarious. So big fan of that. Big fan of that.
Yeah.
Anybody else on the tip of your tongue? Anybody else you feel like you gotta get off your chest?
Yao Ming.
I mean, he was pretty fucking good, but yet never won a championship.
Yeah, he was also like he's in the Hall of Fame, but that's because of like his international it's not from his numbers. But Yao Ming, if he didn't,
I think it counts a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I think if you think of it like their career versus not winning a championship, kind of two different things. But if you're thinking of them in that regard, like not getting to a championship when we all think he should have, then it fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like
him and Tracy
thought he would
McGrady
work
teams.
Out. I know. I never thought he would work out, and then there was a year he was like incredible, and it's like holy shit, we had never seen anything like that from a guy his size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it definitely did not move super well, but yeah, it's par for the course when you're that size. And it's amazing that now, Wembanyama's the same size as him and is like shooting threes and running, kind of looking like a normal person running, which is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's early. How is he not going to have? I mean, I hope not, but God, every time he cuts, I'm like, he's going down. This guy's going to get hurt. They got to slow him down. They had to slow Porzingis down. Porzingis was running like that too, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, he kept hurting himself, but hopefully he's in the right situation. Because if you can see that guy stay healthy for a long time, it's wild to watch. It is still freakish. It doesn't look real, so it'll take a long time to get used to.
And the Spurs never have any luck with the draft, so it's good on them. They deserve it.
Good for them. Well, if you had to guess how old Yao Ming is, I want to take your guesses right now.
47.
40s. I'm gonna go. I could be way off.
Got a specific number?
47.
45.
It's only 43.
My God, what is he in good shape? Can he get back out there?
He was born in 1980. Like, he just does not feel like it feels like he should have been older. I don't know why.
He aged like a giant.
Yeah, that is true. 43. I think that's like 73 in dog years.
Yeah,
or giant years.
His heart's working hard. It's got to pump blood a long way when you think about it.
It's like a blue whale. Like you can drive a bus through his aorta.
But then you're going to get stopped at the hole. But you're going to get blocked if you try to get to the hole. Try to drive down there.
So Sarah, that could be our next question. Sarah, you can make some notes on other physical ailments you think Yao Ming will have as a 7'6" Chinese man.
Mm-hmm.
What are his comorbidities? Go.
Yeah. Top 5 comorbidities for Yao Ming.
Maybe a little case study to go along with it. I got it.
Unbelievable.
We got to cut him. Oh, never mind. Cut that.
Well, we want to take this second also to say we love you guys. We love the listeners. This is now being the 40th episode. This is a big one for us. It was very, very exciting. And we also want to share some news that starting season 2, which will be next week, we are going to have a new name. We've been working hard and we've got a few different options for you. So we are going to continue to hone those down and keep following us on Instagram. Check out our Instagram stories. Sometime this week, we're going to put up a poll for so have you guys be involved a little bit in what you think the new name should be. So we will put them out and we'll get a vote, and we will have a new name starting for episode 41 next week. So some respect to Play Your Yards Right, but a little hard to Google, not so great on the SEO, and I'm tired of trying to Google our own podcast, and it's just Google saying, "Did you mean play your cards right?"
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, fuck you, Google.
Yeah. Hey, those are our friends, right? We need them.
I think we should go with the one we thought of before the episode, Sports Center. That's a good one.
Did you just come up with that?
I did. I sent it on the Google Doc.
Damn.
Sports Center.
All right. I'll talk
Let
to
it
our legal
marinate.
team.
Let it marinate.
I'll talk to our legal team.
I have to think it over.
Yeah. So again, keep an eye out for that. But as always, follow us on Instagram. Don't forget to also follow and like all of our stuff on all the episodes on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube. Those likes, comments, they do help. And they are fun. So we got some better quality video coming this week as well. So always check us out on YouTube. We like you guys to see our beautiful shining faces there. It's the first week without Mike's virtual background, which we will figure out how to get back. That was priority number one.
Yeah, this is horrendous. We got to get a virtual host face.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are doing to this video, making me look terrible. So always check us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The subscriptions do help as well. So we appreciate you guys. We love you. And we will be back next week with a brand new name. Talk to you then.
Mm-hmm.